So you guys asked me to show you how to add error bars to like XY data plots. So I wanted to show you how that works in Excel. I actually have a written tutorial already for SPSS. So it's basically going to be like the same concept as when you did the standard curve and then either plotted the error bars or you plotted the raw data points. So for here, you guys are likely interested in kind of showing averages for your stress strain curves. So the tricky thing about the stress strain curves is that in an XY plot, if you want to have horizontal error bars, your data point measurements have to be on the same y-axis points. So here I have some stress strain data values that are basically 0 through 10 kilopascals for a treated condition versus a control condition. So I'm going to show you basically how I made this graph. So basically what we want to plot is each one of our replicates. So we've got 4 different treated replicates versus 4 different control replicates here. We are plotting the strain values versus the same stress values. So if we want to plot the averages with standard deviations, first let's calculate the averages for each one of the stress. So this is the average strain at each one of the stress points. And then we also want to, for our error bars, I like standard deviation. So you can actually do that in Excel with this formula as well. So the trick I'm doing here is just calculating it for the first one and then double clicking on the bottom right corner just to apply it to all the ones below it. Okay, so we have our mean strain values for our stress values. We can go ahead and plot those by selecting the data. So for my treated, my X values are going to be the average strain versus my stress values. Okay, do the same for control. So these are just the same numbers here. All right, so we've got treated versus control. Now we want to actually add the error bars. So to add the error bars, first you want to click on the series. Then you want to click on this plus sign for the chart elements. And I like to just check it. And so its default is going to be the positive vertical and horizontal error bars. In this case, our error is in the direction of strain, so we want horizontal error bars. So I'm just going to click on the vertical ones and delete them. And then I'm going to click on the horizontal ones and edit them. So if you go in and click this arrow, you're going to be really tempted to choose one of these options, standard error or standard deviation. Excel's not sophisticated enough to actually do that correctly. It just is a real hassle to actually use these options well. So don't be tempted to click on those. It's not the correct calculation. Instead, we already calculated standard deviation. So go into more options. And then you scroll down all the way to the bottom. And there's going to be a custom error amount. And then you want to specify the value. So I think I'm editing the control. So I'm going to actually select the control standard deviation. I'm going to use the same values for both the positive and negative error values. Right. So now I've got my new error values there. And then I can just do the same thing for my treated condition. So again, don't want the vertical error bars. I'm going to edit the horizontal ones. Into more options, custom, and then I'm going to specify the standard deviations that I already calculated. Okay, so in order to fix the overlapping, we can select just the positive on the treated side. That way they don't overlap. So I just double clicked on there, and I'm just going to do just the minus actually on the control. So now you can kind of see they're not overlapping, and I can check this and just do just the positive sides. So that just makes the plot a little bit neater. Um, but yeah, so that's how you would add error bars to an XY plot in Excel. So for your paper, this might be a little bit challenging for thousands and thousands of data points. So you can choose two options. Basically, you can select maybe just a handful of stress points like I did here. So 0 through 10. I don't even think I did all 10 stress points. So just selecting a few points to plot the means and error bars of, or if you want to make comparisons, you can also just select representative graphs to plot next to each other. So similar to what I showed in class, but basically just the data points that are the stress strain curves that kind of look like the average for what you've seen in a specific sample.